Good morning. We are live. It is Monday, September 26th, and this is the Deep Dive with Keeping Current Matters. My name is Kate Rezebeck, and I am so excited to be here with you all this morning. As always, we love starting off the week with some of the most important topics in the housing market. So really excited for our chat this morning. We've got a lot of great information to share today. Our big topic today is going to be equity. We're talking about how homeownership wins over time. And I think you're going to really enjoy some of the visuals and the expert quotes and the things that we're going to be sharing with you today to have really powerful conversations with your clients. And if you are a current KCM member, of course, as always, you'll be able to download those slides in our member area. We're going to have those posted for you and a recap of this recording as well. And if you're new to KCM, try kcm.com. That's exactly where you can go to get all the visuals, all the data and information that I'm sharing with you today, because there's a lot of questions that consumers have right now, and being able to use this information that is vetted by our research team that we are following very closely, being able to share those out in your market and with your clients, and just having those on your phone, taking screenshots of these slides and sharing them out on your phone. Super, super important for you to have these in your hands, because that makes you the trusted expert, the trusted advisor, the one who can really answer questions and help people understand how to make powerful and confident decisions in today's housing market. And, I think a picture really says 1,000 words. It's something we definitely stand by here at KCM. So we want you to have these visuals in your hands as we talk about equity, the long-term benefits of home ownership. We're really talking about home ownership as the long game today. So I am going to go ahead and share my slides so we can begin talking about what I am calling why equity is the shining star of the housing market. Now, there's so much happening in the housing market right now. And I mentioned a moment ago that equity is part of the long game, or the long-term benefit of homeownership. And as you have clients or, people that you're talking to that have questions about, should I buy a home right now? Equity is a big part of that conversation. It's really something that has grown over time. We see equity as something that drives homeownership as the winner. And, if you think about, it's not just equity, it's also the non-financial benefits of homeownership. It's why is homeownership important? So much has changed over the past couple of years, 2-3 years now, in terms of what homeownership means, why it's important, why people are buying homes. And, we know that everyone buys a home at different time for a different reason, but people have a lot of questions right now about, should I buy a home? And what I'm going to compare this to today is renting. Because when renting is the alternative, that can really be the game changer. So I want you to be positioned to answer these questions for your clients, use the data, use the information we're going to be sharing today to have those conversations and be that trusted expert. So, we have a daily blog at KCM. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go ahead, pop over to kcmblog.com. We have one out there today called The True Strength of Homeowners Today. This is all about equity and how it's really putting homeowners in such a strong position right now. I would encourage you to go ahead and check that out. If you download the slides today, the link to that blog is going to be right in this slide as well. So a lot of great information in there to help supplement this conversation on equity and the long-term value of homeownership. So what I'm going to do right now is start off with a quote from Selma Hepp at CoreLogic. And I think this really positions some of the reasons why equity is so important. She says, for many households, home equity is the only source of wealth gain. As a result, recent record gains in equity and record declines in loan-to-value ratios will provide many owners with a financial buffer in case economic conditions worsen. In addition, record equity continues to provide fuel for housing demand, particularly if households are relocating to more affordable areas. So there's so much packed into this statement, and I want to break it down for a second because, what really pops out at me right at the beginning is that first part that says, for many households, home equity is the only source of wealth creation. This is a huge driver for long-term net worth, financial stability. We followed a lot of research that shows that the average net worth of a homeowner is truly about 40 times greater than that of a renter. So when you're weighing, should I buy a home? Should I rent? This is one reason why over time, home ownership truly wins. The net worth of a homeowner being so much more significant than a renter. Next point, she says, record gains in equity will provide many homeowners with a financial buffer in case economic conditions worsen. This is huge. We talk about how if, we're not in an environment where we're going to see a wave of foreclosures. We followed along with this, provided a lot of data for you in this, but, people go through hardships all the time, whether they are losing their job or they have a change in their personal situation and they need to make a change. And today, equity is that financial buffer in case someone does need to make a change, in case they do need to sell their home or move or, change their situation. Equity can certainly help facilitate that opportunity. And then finally, record equity continues to provide fuel for housing demand, especially as people are relocating. We talked about changing needs. So much has happened with, people working from home and maybe being able to go to a different location or relocating to more affordable areas. Equity can drive that opportunity and create that opening of the door to someone who needs to make a move or needs to make a change. So many benefits of equity today, and that is a direct reflection of rising home prices and the home price appreciation that we've seen, not just over the past year or two, but truly over time. And that's what I'm going to show you as we go through the presentation today, how equity has really been a driver in the long game. Now, I want to dig into the latest data from CoreLogic because I think this map is really powerful. It shows homeowner equity gains from Q2 of this year over year, compared to Q2 of last year. Now, national average is over $60,000 per borrower, and that's huge. That is a great addition to that financial cushion. And, I know as you're looking at this, you're thinking, Kate, a lot has changed between the second quarter of this year and where we are today. And so, if you have questions about what does this look like on a month-to-month basis, I want you to go back and watch David's deep dive from last week, where he really talked a lot about year-over-year appreciation versus month-over-month changes that we're seeing right now. Our deep dives tend to build upon each other. And so if you go back for context to look at that, if you have questions about how does this play in today, definitely go back, watch that deep dive, pull those slides. I think that really helps frame up the picture of what we're talking about. And today, what I really want to focus on is not just the month-over-month shifts, but the long game. We've said it so many times this morning, how homeownership wins over time. And homeowners today are sitting on significant equity that has truly been building for quite some time, especially over the past couple of years. So let me go ahead and share a little bit more. I want to draw your attention to, this is more insight from that CoreLogic equity report that just came out. Look at that quote down in the bottom right-hand corner. It says the total average equity per borrower has now reached almost $300,000, the highest in the data series. So mortgage holders today are sitting on an average of $300,000 in equity. Now, I know that's going to vary by market. And certainly as you look at some of these maps that we provide, you can see market by market how that changes. But overall, the average US homeowner is sitting on significant equity. And that is really, game changing in the long run. They have a huge cushion that can allow them to make opportunities happen. And, when we're talking about home ownership versus renting, this really comes into play as the long game. Now, what I want to show you even more so about the long game is this map that David shared with you last week. I want to go back to it, because it really paints a huge picture of what's happening with home prices throughout the country. And of course, home price appreciation, the direct output of that is homeowner equity. And if you look at this across the country, the national average for home price appreciation over the past 30 years is almost 300%. So that's huge. When we talk about over the past 30 years, home values increasing by roughly 300%, The direct output of that is homeowner equity. If you had a home in that time, you certainly gained value over time. And the question would be, if you're worried about what's happening right now, month to month, what does this mean? If I could have sold my home for a few $1,000s more last month compared to this month, what does that mean over time? This is what I'm talking about with the long game. History shows us that homeownership wins over time, especially as we look at data like this. You can even break it down state by state. But, this is the type of return that allows people to retire, start a business, go to school, fund an education, make that move into the next home, downsize or move up or whatever it may be. And the question becomes, and David posed this for you last week, if you look at this, of course, history doesn't tell us exactly what will happen in the future, but we can certainly learn from that. And you'd have to make a case for, is it going to be any different in the next 30 years? And, when we think about where inventory is today, where experts project home prices are going to appreciate, the value of homes over time in the long game is truly what wins out. And, I mentioned a moment ago that the alternative is renting. And when we look at this is the median asking rent. This is data from the census, and it's going all the way back to 1988. And if you follow along with this, you've certainly seen this graph before, but it shows how much rent has exponentially increased over the past 30 years. So when you think about, home price appreciation, equity growing over time, and the alternative is spending that money on rent and not getting return on your investment, that's a huge difference. And, I want you to hear me loud and clear when I say that we know that homeowners or people purchase homes for different reasons at different times, and not everyone is positioned to be able to purchase a home right now. But as we have people who maybe your clients that are sitting there waiting it out, seeing, what's going to happen with mortgage rates, what's going to happen with home prices, this is the question you want to ask. Do you want to put at risk that equity and potentially renting over time or not earning that equity back? So really, being that trusted expert and being able to share this data is super important as you're starting to help your clients make powerful and confident decisions. And, as I think about home ownership as a whole, we talk about how it wins over time, but it's just not just the financial component. It's that emotional component. It's what we talked about earlier with, you can live in your home, it can change your life. You have that security, that safety, that place of refuge that, we really looked for over the past few years in particular. And so much has changed in that time in the meaning of home ownership. And it drove so many people to decide that, I am going to invest in home ownership. So, when you think about those changing needs, when you think about the alternative as renting, one of the best things you can do is sit down with your clients and hear them out, understand their concerns, understand their questions, help position to them, here's the value of equity gain over time. Here's even the non-financial value of home ownership over time as you make your decision. And with you as the guide, as that expert advisor in the process, then they can make the most powerful and confident decision and truly look towards equity as potentially the long game alternative to renting. So before we wrap up today, I want to share with you a great opportunity we have. This is our video masterclass that we are offering to anyone who wants to go try out this link. trykcm.com/masterclass. Our team put this together and it is fantastic. It leverages many experts from the industry who are video experts. They talk about how to get on video, how to overcome your fears, why it's important. We are giving away 3 sections of this masterclass for free just by going to that link. You can check it out, you can explore, you can see how to get access to the rest of the class, but I encourage you to go there and take a look because it's a really powerful tool. As you as the agent know, getting out on video is the most important way to connect with your clients, boost your business, be that trusted advisor, and really make an impact in your local market. So our masterclass will certainly help you do that. And I encourage you to go and check it out. So I'm going to pause right here and Whitney's going to pop on, let us know if there are any questions that came through in the chat.
Hi, Kate. There are two questions.
Okay.
One from Linda. She wants to know, why did you choose Q1 1991 for the percent change in home price visual?
Sure, that's a great question. We wanted to go back to the latest updated data and go, roughly 30 years to kind of show that long-term benefit. So we felt like that was really an important, visual or time frame to show to give that 30-year pinpoint, especially as we talk about, a lot of mortgages or 30-year mortgages in that as well.
Awesome, Kate. Our next question is from Francisco. He wants to know, what do we tell sellers not wanting to adjust price after several weeks on the market?
That's a great question. I think every market is different. So talking to your clients about what's important to them and really helping them understand what is the value of the home today versus what they may have heard several months ago. David talked a lot about the inflection point in the market, and that is causing a shift. And I think going back and listening to that deep dive on where prices are today and really kind of positioning to your clients that, expectations have changed and homes are still selling quickly if they're priced appropriately and they're working with you as the trusted advisor. So really hearing them out, bringing the data, having that whole conversation is super, super important. And everybody's going to be coming at this from a different place, from a different market, from a different look on where they need to be today for their goals.
Kate, we have one more question if you're open to taking one more question.
Sure.
Sandra wants to know, what does the T stand for in 3.6T equity?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me go back to that slide. I think this is the one right here that we're talking about. I didn't break down this entire slide for you, but this says the T is year-over-year total increase in equity for U.S. homeowners and mortgages. So that is $1 trillion. So collective across the entire country as you put those mortgages together. Great question. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Whitney, thank you for popping on and facilitating those questions. As always, bottom line, walking away with homeownership wins over time. And if you can help your clients understand the long-term value of equity gain and really playing out the long game, I think that's really going to help them make powerful and confident decisions going forward. So thank you all. Have a great week, and we will see you back here next week.